today this book Unforgotten by Tohby Riddle, which is definitely a juxtaposed sequential narrative, which is how we get fancy when we talk about comics. It's a story and it's a meditation that takes us into a vision of the world which makes the act of making visual, so this thing that comics do and visual storytelling does, this making visual I see as its central, as a core really of the book. So there are aspects to the world of this story which are vital but unseen in that world, though we can see them as the readers. And those elements become visible through the telling, and they become physical. And tellingly, the people in the world, in this world of Unforgotten, when those things become physical and real, they do treat them in a certain way, but it's not entirely appropriate. So Tohby, I'd like you to talk to us about this book and to talk about what came first. Was it that, because it follows a poem really throughout it, or a piece of imagistic writing, I suppose. Did that come first, or were the pictures appearing for you? How did it evolve?
It is hard to describe, but look, I certainly saw images first, and then I did come up with the opening line, which is nobody knows where they come from, but they come. And from that, all these other pictures came, and then I sort of worked out words to go with the pictures. And when I finished it, I realised I had a kind of poem, but I hadn't intended to write it that way. So I put it at the end, just on its own, just the words, so that you could see the words on their own as well. But otherwise, it's just a long visual experience, really.
So it was a part to do, a dance between the words turning up and the images,
yeah.
And sort of they encouraged each other?
Yeah, and it's amazing, the fewer the words I used, the more images they seem to generate, and that's why the book became longer and longer, in a good way. And so, you know, it just became a mostly visual experience, but the words are pretty important to it, I think.
So really it was, I mean, I suppose all making something is a feeling of play or of exploration, but would you say it was particular in this book? Had you given yourself a new license to do that?
Yeah, I had to give myself a fair bit of license, yes, to create to work in a longer format and I guess tell a story the way I'd never told it before, and I wasn't familiar with it being told in this particular way. It's sort of a blend of picture book conventions and graphic novel conventions and photographic conventions and things like that, and I just kept playing around with that till it felt right, and then yeah, the book came out of that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun actually.
And because it's such as you're saying, it's really a groundbreaking work form-wise, were there conversations with friends or editors that helped that, or did it seem quite a studio-based exploration?
Not really. I work in a converted roof space, which is also, you could call it an attic, but you can't really stand up. It's meant to just be for storage. But I have to work up there because that's the only space we've got. And I spent months and months up there working on this thing and wondering if it was really, you know, how on earth anyone would make anything of it. And I think it took about 6 months of just developing before I was sort of worked up the courage to show it to someone else, because I thought it might look like I'd gone mad. And so, but you know, luckily, as I showed people, they seemed to get what I was trying to do, and that was good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm going to pass this along so you're holding it. So here it comes. Okay. Tohby Riddle and Unforgotten. And finally,